Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We can go into presentation mode. That would be lovely, Snehal. Today's webinar is going to be around who is moving to Oracle Cloud and why are they. So we'll be looking at a few case studies to examine why people are moving to cloud, and hopefully you'll garner a bit of information as to the reasons why they're moving to cloud, but also give you further insight. So, Snehal, are you there? Yep. Can you go into presentation mode into the next slide? Sure. There we are. So, just to introduce ourselves here, my name is Rick Anthony. I'm the VP of Sales for Evosys. I've got about 24 years now, actually, experience in implementing Oracle applications from its very first Oracle Financials green screen to eBusiness, JD Edwards, and for the last 6 years or so, been focusing on cloud and Fusion products applications. Also with me today is Snehal. He is our SVP in charge of customer success. He will be giving and talking about a number of the case studies. So just as a background to this also, we've been working with Oracle. We strictly are an Oracle SI, strictly focusing on Oracle. And we have built a program which we call Glide, and we'll be talking about. But giving you a background on such is that we've had a number of successes over the last year, and with considerable contribution in taking customers to Oracle Cloud. And over the last 3 months, globally, we've taken about 10 customers, e-business customers to cloud, and here locally in the US, about 5. So what I wanted to do is, as opposed to talking about specifics of the Glide program, spending too much time, we wanted to really dig down into this session and to understand what those customers' actual assessments look like and what their reasons were behind it. So our agenda is how I should start Journey to Cloud, and we'll have a case study around that, and then another case study around building the ROI and the business case, and then the tools that we have that allow us to be more cost effective because these are accelerators, but also to make the implementation faster. So if we can just start with a small introduction of Evosys, we can go to the next slide. So just as a snapshot for Evosys, as I said, we are Oracle only SI, focusing in cloud. We've got well over 1,000 Oracle Cloud customers. And just off to the left, it gives you a breakdown of some of those numbers as to where we are: 230 in ERP, HCM 850, and well over 100 on-premise customers that we've taken to cloud. We are a global company, and we do have a very strong presence here in the US, and we are continuing to grow. One of the things that we like to let people know about and helping them to understand why we're giving these presentations is our awards and what Oracle says about us. So Oracle has recognized us over the many years with numerous awards, but most recently at last year's Open World, the last conference they had, which was in person, we won the Global HCM Partner of the Year. And then in 2017, we won the Global ERP Partner of the Year. It'll be difficult to find any other partner that's have been able to win those distinctive awards. We do have a significant industry experience, and we'll talk to some of that, but we do have a number of out-of-the-box considerations for certain industries around manufacturing and retail, hospitality, construction and engineering, professional services. And then that helps to accelerate our implementation cycle. And if we can go to the next slide. This is what Gartner says about us. And this particular slide in particular was, this is specifically focusing on those partners that assist customers going from on-premise to cloud. So in 2019, we had a fairly good ranking. And in 2020, this again, we had we improved our ranking within the Magic Quadrant. And this was based on customer references and satisfaction. Now, we're going to be talking about our program of taking Oracle customers to cloud and these case studies. And what I wanted to do is give you a bit of background on what the program is before we step into it, give you better insight as to how we go about this. So this program is RIP. There are Oracle has their own program called SOAR, and they really targeting the enterprise and market customer. But our program is slightly different, and you'll see why. So we first started off with a readiness assessment, and that assessment is of your current environment. So we spend time to pull out the information from your current environment to get a better understanding of what your customizations are, how your chart of accounts are run, and this all leads to giving you a better insight to your current environment. And then we spend time in looking at those comparisons as to where you are now and then what you may attain through cloud. And we'll talk specifically about that with other customers. After that, we'll start looking at what we call insight. And this is, helping you to build that business case to move to cloud. So oftentimes, when you implemented e-business, and I know this because I've been doing it, I did for a good portion of my career, it's a long project. It's a considerably long project. And it could be 2 years, 3 years or more. With cloud, there's the ability to implement much faster because you're implementing best practices. And therefore, it allows customers to really look at what their return on investment is and calculate that. In previous years, when you were implementing a business, everybody had good intentions and set up those ROIs that they wanted, but halfway through, they just wanted their lives back and oftentimes forgot about it. Here, we start in building that business case with you. And once we have that business case, we attach certain KPIs to it. So KPIs that you'll be able to measure as you move forward. And we'll talk about that with a particular case study as well, as to how a customer was able to benefit from the Insight program to have an understanding of what good likes at the end, but also how that commercially would affect them as well. After that, we go into advisory services for enhancements. So we'll look at your current environment, establish what needs to move into cloud, and then there may be some gaps with customizations that they'll have to have enhancements, and we'll openly discuss those. And then we'll do the implementation and then the support services after that. So, through these 100+ implementations, we've developed an approach and tooling that are specific to us. And this helps for a faster implementation. And what that means to you, the customer, is going to be more cost effective. We're using a lot of this innovation to help our customers get up and running faster and quicker by taking advantage of these hyper efficiencies that we've created. We also provide the innovations. So things, oftentimes the thought process with innovation is it comes after the implementation. We like to look at it and say, let's make that part of the implementation, especially around digital assistants and chatbots and for the need of IoT. And we'll talk about ROI, RPA, and analytics as well. So what I want to try and do today is just give you a better understanding on Glide and how it is before we go and speak to the next about our customer specifically. So let's go to the next slide, please. So this is our first case study, and this is an interesting customer. This is a global customer in the computer component industry. This is a customer that had 2,100 customizations, 2,100, and they weren't sure about cloud. They were on 12.1, and they were on 12.1 in AWS, and were suffering from significant performance issues, as you would expect being in AWS. And they were looking at this as an opportunity to say, should we just upgrade, go to 12.2, which is going to be supported into 2030, or should we look at the enhancements of cloud? And a lot of the drivers that were behind that were the, are we ready for cloud? Is it going to give us the value we need? But more so, that functionality that we've created through these customizations, how is that going to transfer into cloud? So I'm going to turn it over to Snehal, and he'll take a deeper dive into that.
Thanks, Rick. Great. So Rick has described the situation of a global customer, and the customer was using pretty much all the modules on e-business suite, including for financials, very complex solution they have implemented for supply chain modules, as well as for human capital management. So what we have done, as part of stage 1 of Evosys Glide Program, and to assist this customer, not just to decide that they should move on Oracle Cloud application, but also help them to create a end-to-end cloud roadmap by giving them a lot of information. So as part of our assessment tool, it's a very simple process where we have created the assessment toolkit. We send the toolkit to customer. We have done it for this particular customer, and then they have ran the assessment toolkit. It's basically a bunch of PL SQL scripts on their e-business suite environment. And then they have sent us the information back via Excel spreadsheet. We do not collect any of the confidential information. Once we have received the information from this customer, we have taken about 4 days of time to create a detailed assessment report. As part of the assessment report, what we had delivered is essentially given them the modules they are using on e-business suite. What are the modules they should implement on Oracle Cloud application? We have done analysis about their key structures, such as chart of account, their HR structure, item master structure, and I'll give you more information what exactly we have done here. Like Rick said, this customer had a huge customization on their e-business suite instance. So we have absolutely collected all the information in terms of how many custom reports, the integrations, the custom forms, workflows, not just the count, but we have also captured the description which they have stored when they have defined these objects in the business suite. This has given us fantastic information in terms of understanding what are the customization customer has implemented. Not just that, we have also done analysis via our assessment tool. What are the custom extensions they are using on a frequent basis? Though they had created 2,000 plus customization, but about 30-40% of customizations they were not even using. So we have done all of that analysis, and we'll talk about how we have approached the entire customization discussion with this particular customer in a while, because this was one of their worry, their nervousness, whether should upgrade EBS or move on Oracle Cloud application. So we have really spent great amount of time around this area, and I'll give you detail about the entire process. And then we have not just recommended what modules, but we have also recommended, we have done comparison between what are the features they are using on eBusiness Suite per module, and what are the benefits or what are the new features they are going to get on cloud application. So here is the example. The customer was using about 26 features on GL for EBS, and then we have done analysis that they are going to get more features, and we have also given them list. Now this is not a generic list which we have provided to this particular customer. From our industry experience and the information which we have captured via assessment toolkit, and the strong experience Evosys have around implementing Oracle financials, we have combined all the knowledge and experience, and then we have recommended the list, what are the additional features they will get. Now we have done this for all the modules they were using, purchasing, inventory management, order management, core HR, so and so forth. Very, very detailed analysis. This has really given the CFO office, the controller, the logistic VP, so and so forth, a great glimpse about what are the benefit, or what are the specific benefit they are going to get by moving to Oracle Cloud application. And please remember, at this point, we have not done any discovery. We have not asked customer to get on hours and hours of call with Evosys. This is absolutely based on the assessment tool which we have ran on customers' EBS environment and the information which we have got. This is an example of key structure analysis. Like I said, it is not just about capturing how many ledgers they have defined in eBusiness Suite, how many operating units, what is their chart of account structure. No, it's not about that. What we have done is we have described our observation about their structure, and then we have also given initial recommendation. Obviously, this recommendation was without talking to customers, so it was a draft and initial, but the point which we have conveyed, the confidence we have given to this particular customer was multifold, right? We told them what are the new features you will get on cloud application, plus you also have opportunity to improve your structure, your processes as part of a transformation program. So it's not just implementing another product, but getting a fantastic opportunity to transform their back office operations. I'll go on next slide, and this is another example. Our recommendation and analysis was not just around the structure, but we have also picked up important business processes such as intercompany transaction. Like Rick said, this customer is a global in nature. For them, intercompany transaction was really, really important. So we have described our observation, and from our experience implementing cloud application for eBusiness with customers, we have also given recommendation on what are the possible improvements on business processes, and we have picked up a lot of other examples. What we are throwing here on a PowerPoint is just a sample, but it was a big list where we told customer, we think these are the possibility of improvement in your business by moving to Oracle Cloud application. Like I said, we have really not taken more than 4 days of time to create this assessment report. It was absolutely free of cost. We have not asked customer to get on a big discovery call, nothing at all. It was a great first step for this customer to embark their Oracle Cloud application journey.
And if I can interject here, especially on this slide here, because it's really important to understand some of the drivers here. And with this particular customer, as Snehal said, they had a number of reservations about moving to cloud, and one of those was the customization. So when we came back in this process, showed them that you've got 2,100 customizations, more than half you don't use anymore. And we were able to show that. And then we showed 3/4 of what they are currently using. There was an actual like for like transfer in cloud. So those additional customizations disappeared. And then we had to look at that quarter of those customizations that were left out of that, and then determine how much could be changed through change management, how much can be changed through workflow management. And we ended up coming about that there wasn't nearly as many customizations that had to be written, is what we call extensions. And this is where Snehal is going to talk about right now, and how we look at those key extensions that have to be built and go through that process. Over to you, Snehal.
Thanks, Rick. Absolutely. So, like Rick said, for this particular customer, a customization was a biggest subject. So we have done our due diligence, and obviously, after the assessment report, the customer got really excited to pursue the cloud journey. As part of our delivery approach, specifically around customization, what we do is when we start the cloud application project, in the design workshop, obviously, we spend some time understanding the customization in little more detail, and then our effort always has been to recommend out of the box features and functionalities, because the cloud application offers much more advanced and robust functionalities as part of the out of the box offering. And we have seen our customers could easily retire their e-business with customization. So we start with sharing the leading practices. We start with recommending customer that these are the possibility and you can retire your customization. We also talk about number of workaround, and then if the out of the box features are not meeting customers' requirement, that's where we agree deploying the custom extension on Oracle PaaS, which is Oracle Platform as Services. It is always great to avoid customization. We all understand that, and specifically when we move on SaaS-based environment. But at the same time, it is very important that your implementation partner has strong technology expertise, because believe or not, you still will have to recreate some amount of custom extension on Oracle Cloud Application also using PaaS, and that's what we have done for this customer. Carefully analyzed wherever required. We have recreated the custom extension, but we follow very very strong process, very strong change control. We bring all stakeholders in the discussion before we agree to create any pure custom extension on Oracle Cloud Application. But just to make things easy for all of you, Oracle Cloud Application absolutely has capability to create the custom extension using PaaS, and which can be easily integrated with the core modules. So, and we have strong experience doing that. So this was about the assessment, the first stage of Evosys Glide Program, which this customer has used. We have a number of other customers here in US and globally who has used the assessment tool of Evosys Glide Program to plan their cloud journey. It's completely free of cost. I'm sure Rick is going to talk about how you can leverage at the end of the presentation. Rick, you want to introduce the case study too?
Absolutely. So This is another customer, another global customer, and they were in the gaming industry, and they understood at this point what the reasons why they were moving to cloud. But they, as I said previous, they needed to build that business case, and you saw in Snahel's previous slides and those comparison between on-premise to cloud and what cloud gives you, and then far to the right of that were what added values you get. We work with them, and that's where we started putting together the business case, why they should move to cloud, what they're going to get that they're not getting now. And this was really important because this is where the CEO of the company wanted to know, this is a significant spend. What do we plan to get, and how are we going to measure it? I was on a call with a steerco the last 2 weeks ago, and the president of the company joined the call and was talking just about that. How are we going to measure success? How are we going to measure our ROI when this goes live? What is the benchmark we're going to put into place so that we know we're on the right track? And that's when our team interjected the inside program and how it works. And this was all on video. There was a smile and eyebrows raised, and that was the last we heard of it. We're presenting it to them again. So this is going to be what we're going to talk about in this next section here. So I'll turn it over to Snehal to finish that through.
Thanks again, Rick. All right. So second customer situation, like Rick has said, it was a very, very interesting discussion with this particular customer while they were planning their cloud journey. They said very clearly, see, I'm going to spend $3 million on Oracle and Evosys. Tell me what is that I'm going to get in return. Can you quantify the return which I will get after using Oracle Cloud Application? So this was their question. It's a very valid question. Everyone would have this question. What we have done is, as part of Evosys Insight and value-based analytics program, we have identified, and some of the information you are seeing on the screen is sample, but we have identified what are the strategic objectives or what are the critical challenges customer want to resolve by implementing Oracle Cloud Application. So for an example, this particular customer wanted to improve their financial processes. So this was one of their strategic goals. So we have identified that, and then we have a library of KPI for finance, supply chain, human capital management, so on and so forth. We pick up a specific KPI from the library, which ultimately helps customer to accomplish their strategic objectives. We are very flexible to identify KPI beyond the library we have, which might be very peculiar for your requirement. I'll talk about one specific KPI and how we plan the end-to-end journey. But just to give you a little more perspective, the library we have around KPI are from 4 categories. Now, we want to be very realistic, very careful when we position Evosys Insight program. We do not want to overcommit. So whatever Oracle Cloud Application and Evosys can do, we want to stay very, very real and to the point. So we have categorized our KPI in these 4 categories: process optimization, system adoption, information output, audit, and compliance. If you observe these categories, these are the areas which normally could be improved by implementing any enterprise application in a right way. Right. So for this customer, let me talk about a specific business case. So they wanted to reduce payment processing time. So this was one of the KPI which they wanted to accomplish by implementing Oracle Cloud Financial. So we have identified this KPI as part of the sales cycle, and then we have created sub KPIs for this particular KPI, and then we have also benchmarked and baseline the KPI. So this particular customer, they were processing their about 79% of payment on time on e-business suite. And what they wanted to do was, by implementing cloud financials, they wanted to improve this from 79% to 95% in a year of time. So this was their target. So we have done this. There were around odd 12 different KPIs we have identified for this particular customer across various business functions. And then we have given this package to Evosys implementation team. So they have started the project with a vision to have a delivery approach which helps you to measure the value after using Oracle Cloud Application. So what Evosys project team has done was, they have created detailed task list. So there was task on customer, there were tasks on Evosys project team. These tasks were carefully designed so that ultimately, by implementing Oracle Cloud Financials in a right way, the customer should observe the improvement on this particular KPI. So in this case, their payment processing time should improve from 79% to 95%. So we recommend leading practices. We challenge customer in a right way so that they can improve their SLS, so and so forth. And then we would also design, configure the solution in a way where it ultimately helps customer to improve the performance of their KPI. We train their users because it is great, it is fantastic to create a right solution, talk about leading practices. But if you do not do right knowledge transfer, the users are not going to use application in the right way. We do not stop here, and this is something which is very, very important. What we have done for this customer, and this customer is live for about 11 months now. What we have done was, after the customer went live, we have deployed the tool which we have created using Oracle Business Intelligence. It is basically number of analytics. We deploy this analytics on customer's instance. So in this case, this is the analytic or a dashboard which helps customer to monitor or measure the payment processing time. So we have deployed this, and then customer has observed the improvement over the period. And then ultimately, we have accomplished along with customer what we have agreed in the sales cycle. These analytics are across all the modules, supply chain, human capital management. We have developed around 300 plus different analytics, which helps you to measure the performance of your KPI around 4 categories, which I have just described. And this really makes us absolutely unique. You can obviously argue that everyone is talking about KPI, but our vision is to keep KPI at the center of the implementation. Plan our design in a way where ultimately you don't just go live successfully, but you go live with consideration where you ultimately get benefit on the KPI. This is another example of analytics. This particular customer also said that your human capital management module is great, everything is fantastic, but today my employees are not engaged as far as their appraisal process is concerned. So this was one of their asks, where can you help me to identify which employee is not engaged for what task in the employee performance appraisal process. So we have deployed this particular analytics which helps the HR business partner, which are the tasks employees are bypassing. So HR business partner can go and talk to an employee. What is the problem? Are you not happy with your job? Is your manager not giving you right feedback? So and so forth. So these dashboards are really interactive, where it helps the executive, the middle, and the lower management with necessary information to take right decision. And last but not least, and very, very important, we keep our final payment milestone of our implementation price on accomplishment of this KPI. So go live is not ultimate success for Evosys. This particular customer has given us 10% of our payment after 1 year of going live. So we really keep our skin absolutely on the table and in the game, so that customer really gets a lot of value out of their investment. Yeah, Rick.
So, and I just really wanted to stress that point, because when we talk to customers, there's certain risk, and their risk model is lessened when we apply the Insight program, because this is a free program. There is no additional software you have to purchase. These are KPIs written in native language to cloud that allow you to have it embedded and that you keep through the whole process of implementation and beyond. So it also shows your level of improvement in the years that go on from there. And for us, this is distinct in helping to de-risk it, but also to show our confidence in the success of the project, because as Snehal said, we're going to attach a commercial component to this, that a certain percentage of the project is going to be held back until you reach these KPIs that we've agreed on. And that's huge, because that shows to a customer, first, the confidence, we're in it together, and that's how it really should be. Thank you, Sneh.
Thank you. All right, so let's keep moving, and before that, pretty interesting slide. This is a real-time use case, from two different customers, who has used Evosys Insight program. So then for this particular customer, what we have done was, we have presented information in right way. So for the invoice approval, we have done analysis for a month, and we have identified that, they were approving around 37,000 invoices. Okay. And then, we have described or detailed out the process. So there were around 235 approvers participated in this approval process, and they were taking around, so about 6 approvals per day per approver, 5 minutes per approver. And then we have given them the statistics that, what you are doing, average time spent on approvals about 100 man hours a day. And then we told customer, just use your average rate of your wage and just see what is the dollar amount you are spending on invoice approval. And customer was absolutely shocked. This was just one self-service transaction. There were a number of other transactions. So what we have realized is sometimes it is too critical to give this kind of information to customer. And then this particular customer has gone into details and identified, all right, we are configuring unnecessarily complex approval hierarchy. Our SLA is not good. Some portion of our approval is still manual, and it is really taking a lot of time. So there could be any reason or a cause, but it is really, really important to provide this information. And as part of Evosys value-based analytics, all these dashboards are readily available. We give access of this dashboard after going live immediately to our customer. This is another example. A customer has saved about $80,000 within the first month of going live, because there were duplicate invoices. There are thousands other examples where Evosys value-based analytics have helped customer to take right decision, identify inefficiency in their processes, the way they are using system, and it has really given them the real value of spending all dollar on cloud application and Evosys. With that, let's move on and talk about case study 3. Very interesting, we were talking to another customer, and they also had their IT team obviously on board to plan their cloud journey. And then we had presented them the assessment and then Evosys Insight, and they said everything is fantastic. Our interest is to learn more about the tools part of Evosys Glide program. We are not interested in PowerPoint presentation. So these were their questions, and then what we have done is we have presented the tools which we have created as part of Evosys Glide program, and we use this tool for all our on-premise to cloud transformation. Like Rick said, we do not separately charge them. This is part of our delivery approach. So for this particular customer, to their IT team, we have presented the data migration assets. This asset, so essentially it will get connected to your EBS environment. It will extract the data, do transformation. As you understand, you can't just extract information from EBS and migrate into Oracle Cloud application. You will have to do some kind of transformation so that the cloud application can consume the information. Also, when we had presented to this particular customer, they have raised very interesting questions. They said that as part of our cloud transformation, there are two important aspects where we want to clean the data. So we want to change our chart of account first, and we want to clean our job title. So our data migration tool support that also. You give us the logic, and this tool will do the data transformation digitally. It will save huge amount of time, for the IT team, for the business team. And then ultimately, once the transformation is done, it will load information into Oracle Cloud application. We also provide reconciliation report so that customer can compare, what we have extracted from a business suite and what we have migrated. So it's completely end-to-end digital, completely automatic process from extraction to transformation to migration, as well as reconciliation. So this is one of the example of our tool. Obviously, this supports all the modules, be it human capital management, supply chain, or financials. This is another example of tool, which we use as part of Evosys Glide program, and Rick has, briefly described this. So we use robotic process automation. We are partnered with a company called UiPath. We use RPA for the purpose of configuration validation, migrating configuration from one cloud instance, so such as, for an example, development cloud instance to test cloud instance and then production cloud instance. This really helps us to bring high efficiency, accuracy, and it also make the end-to-end process error-proof. We also do some kind of data processing using RPA, and we do regression testing using RPA. This is really, really important because Oracle provides 4 updates every year, so that customer gets new features, bugs are fixed, so on and so forth. And it is important to do a quick round of testing after Oracle updates. So we use RPA for the regression testing, and we also use RPA as part of our managed services after go live, just to make the end-to-end process absolutely efficient. This is third example of our tools, part of Evosys Glide program. I'm sure all EBS customer or PeopleSoft, or for that matter SAP customers, everyone creates a lot of custom reports over the year. So what we have done is we have created a library of custom reports. Wherever Oracle out of the box reports are not enough, for our customer we give this library to them. They can go and choose a report, read a description, run a report, see the output, and tell us, okay, 80% is fine, can you do some tweaking? This really helps us to deploy the custom reports quickly. It also helps us to bring a lot of efficiency and improvement as part of our implementation process. Let's keep going. I have a couple of more slides and then we'll take questions. We all know, we are in a COVID environment. Evosys have, as part of our delivery approach, we have developed our methodology or adjusted our methodology in a way where we are very, very successful working remotely. We have started about 60 plus projects since COVID, and about 25 projects went live. And some of the customers, as you can see on the screen, were absolutely complex in nature. We have ran the complex design workshop remotely across multiple time zones, across the globe, and this customer went live absolutely successfully. We have really improved. Interestingly, we have improved the efficiency, the way we are executing the programs, and there are a number of tools, techniques we use as part of our delivery approach, so that we work. Our working remotely becomes pretty efficient. We also have a very, very strong manage or support services, and we have a number of our customers using these support services after going live. It's a complete full services portfolio. We support enhancing the functionality. We give 100% support for Oracle updates. We do a lot of user training. We create all kind of custom reports, so and so forth. So it's a full services portfolio, for our Oracle Cloud customers. Rick, do we want to take questions before we talk about next step?
Yes, absolutely. Do we have any questions that have been loaded into the dialogue? I don't see any now. Oh, here we are. Okay, no, that was just a test there. So while you type in some of the questions you have, so as a next step, like we said a number of times over the course of this webinar, this is a complimentary offering we have. There is absolutely no obligation. What we ask is, first off, reach out to us, and we share an NDA with you, because you get proprietary scripting, and we'll have you run that script for us. You return that data, and then within 7 days, we'll have a full readiness assessment report for you to get a better understanding of what your current environment is, but what cloud will bring for you. And as we see it, there's an investment on our side, but I think it oftentimes helps customers to understand where they should be. Because the way we look at it is, this is going to be agnostic as to Oracle, and we want to make sure that you know what the best choice is, whether to upgrade, whether to stay where you are, or whether to move to cloud. And that's the core of what this assessment does for you. So I hope everyone did find the session valuable today. I don't see any questions, but what we'll do is we're going to share this deck with you afterwards. And please do reach out to us with any questions. And we'll also reach out to you to see if you have if you'd like to pursue this program. Thank you very much for your time today. And if you have, again, any questions, reach out to us. We'll be able to help. Thank you all for your time.